We'll call this meeting to order. First order of business is Rob Renault is on telephone. Is there a motion to allow Rob to participate? Member Rosenbaum, Member Salzer. Any questions or comments? I don't know if she probably had this teed up though, didn't she? Does boss lady want to sit up here? You want to sit up here? Yeah, if this meetings go long, it's your fault. Malia, you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
My name is Malia.
Who's your grandma?
Betty Duncan.
You're the co-chair for the day. Is it any difference? Sharon, are you an aye? Sharon would be an aye, so that way you can record her while she. She can just be absent on that vote. All ayes. Welcome, Rob. Next is the informational items. I will move to receive and file those unless there's specific questions. Member Ricker?
Yes, I would like
Go
to
ahead.
spend just an update on 3.5 because that was one that we requested to have added. So if you would just spend a minute on that one, please.
Administrator Sorrell, GAP program.
Let me get to that page in the packet for you.
Oh, no,
We've got it right here.
The what?
minutes.
I know,
Oh.
I went past that. We'll go back to the minutes. I got ahead of myself.
Okay. All right. So, Julie, if you're prepared, why don't you come up and quickly talk about it since you are the author of the communication that's in the packet.
I'm going to trade Julie out on this one, if that's all right.
Oh, she delegated it.
So I believe it was last month it was requested that we give an update. We'll probably do this twice a year. We currently have one loan out and one pending. The documentation hasn't been finalized on the second one yet for Harvest Supermarket, but we have one loan out to Natural Fiber Welding. It's, if you'll recall, it's a $3 million loan. It's structured as a line of credit. They have little over $1 million out. They have another request in for just over $500,000 that we're working on getting distributed to them shortly. The balance in the account as of March 31st is 8.9 million, so it's still a very healthy account. And as I mentioned, we'll probably do this twice a year given the timing of the loan payments. Currently, all the loan payments have been made on time. They're currently interest-only payments.
Thank you, Heather. Questions? Is everybody okay with every so often reporting? We used to have every month with the bill line item. I didn't feel that we needed to include that in there, so if just trying to find the amount of detail of reporting that you're looking for.
I'm okay with every 6 months, or if there's something significant that changes during that 6-month window, then please add it. I guess the question on the natural fiber welding NFW, they've taken out 1 million and they're looking for another 500 on the line of credit. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I had suggested twice a year because that's when the loan payments are due. But if you want it more frequently, we can adjust, as you said, if there's something significant that changes, we can. So maybe when the next draw comes down, we can do another report. I believe the last draw was October, so they're not real frequent draws at this point.
At least I'd say every 6 months, but if like Harvest has the June draw, let us know about, make sure
Perfect.
that we're
Yep,
aware
we
of
can
that.
do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Molly, I got ahead of myself. Minutes time. Approval for the minutes. Member Blair, Member Daly. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Please vote.
All eyes.
Next, that would bring us to a resolution of Peoria County Administrator's Annual Evaluation and Employment Agreement. Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Member Duncan, Member Blair. So this is the bonus that we had talked about where we actually needed, per the contract, legal. Jenny thought it'd be cleaner if we actually brought the bonus forward for a vote. And we'll take care of the financial stuff later on the making sure. Is there any questions on that? Member Blair.
Just a comment that the evaluation subcommittee or committee, whatever we're called, met with Administrator Sorrell and discussed his evaluation.
Thank you, team. Much appreciated. Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote. Ayes have it. Next is a resolution for the Executive Committee recommending an appropriation and investment of $50,000 to the Heart of Illinois Regional Port District. I'm going to throw an audible here. This is going to be for informational only for today, and we're going to bring it back at some point. The idea would be to actually invite Mr. Sinker and his team in to come present what they're doing. I know myself, Jennifer, and Scott probably get quite a few emails on what they have going on, and Jennifer is our representative on the board. So I'll have Scott talk about what was in the agenda briefing if you have questions, but the plan would be to bring them in here at some point. I know for everybody to get comfortable on that, since it is a budget amendment, we'll probably sit on this for a month or two while we because it would be a supermajority for a budget amendment needed for this vote. So, Administrator Sorrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as it lays out in the agenda briefing, Harvey, Illinois Regional Port District was established in 2003. It was done by an act of the General Assembly. At the time, we were one of the primary drivers that asked for and was lobbying for the creation of the Port District through that legislation. As it says, we are one of 6 counties that the district covers. It's mostly up and down the Illinois River, so it's the Tri-County area and then 3 adjacent counties, both upriver and downriver. Its original goal was to be an economic driver, and the first executive director of the Port District was actually the number 2 person at the Port of New Orleans. So we were able to attract some pretty decent talent, but through a variety of issues, not a whole lot of activity was able to occur other than the grain activity that we see on barge up and down the river already. During COVID, it went a little dormant, but in July of 23, so almost 2 years ago, they actually came to your meeting that was at the museum to request funding support. And it should be noted that up until 2008, 2009, we did provide an annual investment in the Port District between its creation and the Great Recession. The request that is part of this ask is a one-time investment of $50,000. We do, it should be fully acknowledged, we do need to put parameters from a performance metric standpoint around that before we would actually cut a check. But the purpose of this is to get the Port District seems to be slowly but surely moving in the right direction. We do need to see, I think, performance metrics yet to be defined that we can ensure that we actually are making a sound investment. If and when this comes back, and if and when it is approved, this would be an amendment from the reserves of the general fund into the general county departmental budget, and that's where we would make that payment from once we define what those performance metrics might be. And then, if those performance metrics are met, then we would come back to you as part of the FY26 budget process to have a second round of investment of roughly the same level. Happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
I will add to that. Thank you to Member Allison and Administrator Sorrell. We've had numerous meetings and sit-downs with them. This is far down from the original request. Other counties were contributing to it. We settled on this number. We have been very, very clear in those conversations that this is not perpetual funding, that this was 1 year, possibly multiple years in the beginning to get them up and established, not to be long-term funding unless somehow in year 2 or 3 they showed that there was value for us. Again, like most of our deals, 1-year deal, renewable, come back and speak to us. I think one of the things, and this is my own personal opinion, is the difference of what they're doing to what I believe that they're more inclined is, and we had a little disagreement over this. I consider them more like lobbyists at the moment for ports and the waterways and promoting it and getting the data. They don't see it that way, but from what they're putting together, that's the way I see it, to be able to present to legislators and federal government. They do have, I believe, a full board now, and Jennifer is representing on this, but we have been very, very clear to them, to probably their dislike, that this is much less funding than they originally asked for. This is short-term funding and not going to be long-term funding. So I just want to make sure that those goals have been established and for the board to know. And I'm happy to discuss. I know this was on here as an agenda. They're requesting it, but we have time. We'll let this settle for everybody to, if you have questions, and then let them come in and make a presentation again, since when it was October when they asked the request.
Yeah, they came to us with the request either very, very late in the budget process where we felt it was too late to amend, or almost immediately after the budget had been adopted.
So this is where we're at. If you have questions, please ask them beforehand, and we will try to establish a communication to the board. Is there any questions from that? Member Ricker.
Maybe one recommendation, and I appreciate your moving it out to allow more information and better explanation. As that organization has some material or a brief summary they'd like to share, they can do that in advance. They don't need to wait. That way we can at least see it, digest it.
So
I don't want a 3-hour presentation, i.e.
if you want more information, I think last week alone I got about 6 different emails with different things from. So we are currently getting quite a bit of information to go through about locks and dams, federal budget. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They blast out a ton of information. So asking them for I don't mean this to sound like the way, asking them for a small amount of information is a 3-hour presentation.
Well, I'm just. There you go.
We'll ask them. They did have, when we asked them, some of their finances and a budget, we said we wouldn't even give you money with a budget. Their original budget needed to be a little bit more in depth. So we have been fairly on them to make sure that they're meeting our performances of what we expect from the county. So we will ask for, do you want them to still come in, get us something here soon, we'll send it to the board, and then we'll set up there and get that to you, and then maybe in another month or two we'll have July-ish, because our next meeting, reminder, will be at the courthouse, and that meeting is going to be dedicated, not to the courthouse, but at the county jail, and that meeting is going to be dedicated. So I'd probably be looking for more like in July for this to come back and for people to have information.
Well, we can all read. So if they send us stuff, then have them come and ask us if we have questions about what we read.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess be specific. I want an executive summary, 1 page. What are you planning to do with the funds that you are requesting? And what is your report out process to keep us updated on the progress you're making? And challenge them. Say you've got a board member who's rude and only wants 1 page. But
And if I'm offering this up because I'm sure that they would love to talk about it. If anybody would actually like to have a conversation with them, I'm sure that they would be willing to have a conversation prior. And they are in Peoria. None of them actually live here, but they are here quite a bit since their offices for the regional waterway are here. Jennifer?
I'll also add, because Member Ricker was asking in terms of what the goal is, and you mentioned that they're essentially like federal lobbyists, but I would say maybe because they don't identify as that, they lay the groundwork to allow the lobbying to be done. So the more the behind the scenes. So that is essentially what they do. The effort, the intent is to get federal funds flowing regarding economic development in the river. And they do receive funds from all the other counties that are within the Port District.
And I will add for that, they are intertwined a little bit with the EDC here. Sally Hanley's helped them. Ideally, in the past, they actually have, just like the Tri-River Valley Development Authority, bonding authority. They are also by statute allowed to do public-private partnership to build a port, which at one point there was that. They were very, very close to that project. I know that they've been in contact with some local businesses. I don't know if they truly understand all the powers that they have for the bonding side, because they're more the Corps of Engineering side of things, but they do have quite a bit of power. So we'll ask for the executive summary and get it back to the board. Next is I'm going to do standing committees before we get to the grocery tax in case somebody needs to leave on that. So standing committees, infrastructure, Member Salzer.
Thank you, and we have 4 resolutions from our committee that we're going to recommend all of them pass and to the board at our next meeting. The first resolution, as you see there, has to do with the rehab of a bridge there on Willow Nose Road, and it's done in the vicinity of Sam's. If you know where Sam's is, they're in our one shopping center out there, and the walls are crumbling and on this bridge, and of course the expansion joints they are failing and so forth. And we had to hire an engineering firm, and that engineering firm has done quite a bit of work for us, and it's Hanson, and we're going to take this out of the county bridge fund, and it'll be about $136,176. The next resolution has to do with the same bridge, and we had to negotiate with Union Pacific to allow Hanson, of course, to go in there, and this too will come out of the county bridge fund, and it's $25,000. The third one, and Mr. Rosenbaum is probably as happy as anybody in regards to this, as it indicates it's going to be a resurfacing job there on Glassford Hill, which from the village down to Route 24, which is heavily used, and it's heavily used, of course, during the grain transportation that goes on over oftentimes to Pekin, and we had 2 good bidders on that. We had Advanced Asphalt as well as R.A. Cullinan. It was a pretty competitive bid because there was only about $25,000 difference between the two, and we are going to award that, of course, to Advanced Asphalt, who has done work for us in the past, and Cullinan, of course, has too, but Advanced had a big job for us a few years ago, $598,638. And the highway garage, our highway department, of course, they recommended that to add to that the contingency, and so it's going to be $658,000, and that'll come out of motor fuel tax. And the last one down here, if you remember, we had a special meeting as well as a regular meeting that discussed the facade here on our county courthouse, and because of some problems and so forth, and there was quite a discussion about the oversight by an engineering company, and as far as we know, the negotiations went well with them, and they satisfied us with how they remedied that oversight and so forth. But the main thing is we had to adopt a change order resolution, and that change order resolution was $38,650, and Western Specialty is the one, of course, that has been doing our work, and we are going to continue and let them finish the caulking of our windows that were in the oversight, and that's our recommendations to the county board.
Thank you, Member Salzer. Questions? Which I know Member Rosenbaum will be happy for Glassford. That was about $1 million estimate. So it's about $400,000 under, even though it's a short-term fix. So good news. Next is
Ways and Means.
Member Duncan.
Okay, that sounds familiar. Ways and Means, I understand completely. Thank you, Malia. Okay. The Ways and Means Committee had one resolution, and that came from delinquent taxes, and there were 4 items which were defaulted conveyance, and the vote passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Member Duncan? Seeing none, Member Rosenbaum, Land Use.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had one zoning case. It was a petition of Gary Dooley out in the Hannah City area to take out 5 acres so he can build a house on it in the near future out of his 40-acre tract. That passed unanimously. And then we had 2 subdivision waivers. Both of them are from Jim Dawson. He's got he's up there in Kickapoo, and the first one was on they're supposed to have road frontage, and it's a private road, a 30-foot road, and he wanted to add on to his business right on the other side of the road, so we had to approve the zoning of splitting one parcel into 2, and then the next one was he's supposed to have city water, and there's not city water in Kickapoo, so he's on a well, and we approved that, so both of them went unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Rosenbaum. Any questions for Member Rosenbaum? Seeing none, Operations, Member Ricker.
Yes, thank you. We had one additional informational item this month, and I just want to highlight that. So Dr. Allen provided a digital equity pilot program update. For those who are not members of the Operations Committee, I'd suggest that you reach out to him. He did a nice write-up, a 2-pager on the summary of it. So if Dr. Allen would be willing to share that with others, I think it would give you some summary where he's at and that program is at. We had no resolutions, and we did have an executive session for labor relations. That was all. Thanks.
Thank you, Member Ricker. Any questions? Seeing none, Member Blair for Health.
The Health Committee did meet, but we do not have any resolutions.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, Public Safety, Member Allison.
We had 2 resolutions. The first one being the budget amendment to approve funding for the circuit clerk scanning project to digitize the files yet to be run. The second one was the approval of the grant award for the Sheriff's Office for their ballistic information network. He explained that currently they're using the city's device, so this will save them a lot of time.
Thank you, Member Allison. Questions? Seeing none, Finance.
Thank you. I believe most of you are here. So we had 2 resolutions. Those both passed. One was a general fund transfer policy inactivation. This is where we take funds to put in the long-term care fund. We are not going to be doing that this year. The second one was to amend the purchasing ordinance on the community workforce agreement, and that did pass. One thing I did want to mention that we forgot to mention in the committee was that we did have our final report from our external auditors. We're going to be here for the June meeting, but since we're going to be out at the jail, we're going to do that then the following.
Thank you, Member Williams. Questions? I'm going to just move through the end part and do grocery last. Public comment? Miscellaneous. Member Ricker?
One miscellaneous item is the Minority Business Development Center. We have supported them in the past, and I looked up last April, one of their representatives was here in April 2024 and gave us an update. I don't know if we're still providing funds, because I know when we agreed to provide funds, the ask was to have an annual update on their progress. So I guess could we clarify, are we still providing funds, and if we are, when's our annual update?
Great question, Mr. Ricker. Yes, we are. And I had asked Chief DEI Officer Allen to schedule that for the June committee meeting before we decided to shorten the June committee meeting. So we have them already calendared for the July committee meeting, and they will be here.
Great, thank you.
And also the Visitors and Convention Bureau will be here at some point for their yearly update for request for funding. Anything else under miscellaneous? I know we're got grocery talk, but miscellaneous, welcome to our 2 newest employees, interns. If you want to introduce yourself from the State's Attorney's Office.
Hi, my name is Shreya.
Go to the mic real quick so everybody can hear you. Welcome to the team in Peoria.
Hi, my name's Aaron. I just finished my first year at Urbana-Champaign Law.
Hi, my name is Shreya. I just finished my first year at the University of Pittsburgh.
Well, welcome. Okay, so now we'd be to 5.1 grocery sales tax. I did ask, everybody's seen on the report, and Heather's done a fantastic job of trying to compile information, and Julie and the team from all over, Administrator Sorrell. So this was an ask, and specifically why it came up, I did talk to Member Williams. Finance agreed to bring it, talked about the discussion here. So precursor, how we got here, most of the municipalities have had the discussion or approved it to there. I thought it was worth our decision to actually hear the information, try to understand how much money is being captured, and this is a policy decision whether to or not to. It really triggered in my head when we were having the conversation. Hopefully here sooner and later we will be bringing some sort of, I know it's been a while, but Beck's Kickapoo agreement in place, and that has taxable incomes, which does talk in here about how soda and junk food is not taxable at that rate, but we were talking about taxes and what it would bring. There is some sort of agreement that we have to do for some safety improvements out there. The wheels were turning, was this would be a possible way to pay for it or not. I am not asking for a decision on anything today, but wanting you to have the information to be able to digest it so that we can make an informed decision if there is any appetite to pursue that. So with that, I will turn it over to Heather to give the presentation.
Thank you. I think Administrator Sorrell and I will kind of tag team this, but at Chairman Dillon's request, we pulled information that is available from the Illinois Department of Revenue. It is confidential information, and so Chairman Dillon has to sign off on a very select few number of individuals that get that, because it details out all of the sales tax revenue from every business that is either located in unincorporated Peoria or is an online retailer that sells to someone in unincorporated Peoria County. So the challenge with that data is sales tax is all lumped together. So they don't have a line item broken out for grocery sales tax. So we did some online research and found, as you can see in here, what a convenience store, what percentage of grocery sales that they have, what like a dollar store, Dollar General store, that type of thing, what their sales would be. And we did a very thorough analysis and extrapolated out the data to come to what you have in your packet today. We did it in 2 different buckets, as you would say, or categories. The first one being all or most grocery item sales. So that would be like a grocery store or an orchard or something like that, where almost all of their revenue, sales tax revenue, is probably from grocery type sales, items that are eligible for grocery sales tax. And we estimated that revenue to be about $12,583 annually to Peoria County. The partial grocery item sales, so that is where, let's say you go to a convenience store or the Dollar General store or an online store, and they most of their sales are not grocery sales items. That is where we did different categories. And on page 3 of that document, I think it's page 30 of your packet, maybe, it breaks it down where we estimate the revenue to total from convenience stores, dollar stores, and other online retailers, an estimated $8,215 annually. So that is based off of 2024 sales data. So it could change in any given year, but that is about what we anticipate that the county brought in on grocery sales tax in 2024. As Chairman Dillon mentioned, there is another convenience store that will be opening. We've estimated about $1,800 in grocery sales tax from annually from that. And another retailer that does mostly grocery sales that has relocated to unincorporated Peoria County from the city of Peoria, we estimate as that an additional $30,000 in grocery sales tax revenue. So going forward, if the county decided to implement the grocery sales tax, we would estimate about $52,600 a year in revenue from that. If so, currently we in our budget we have about $21,000 that we estimate that we're receiving. If the county decides not to implement that, that would be revenue that we would not receive going forward. Anything to add?
Just a couple of things. As the chairman said, we're looking for policy direction today. We do not have a recommendation as to what we should do, but a couple of key points as laid out in the agenda briefing. It's a binary decision for us. So if you want to enact a grocery tax, it is 1.0%. It cannot be more than that. It cannot be a fraction of that. It is exactly 1%. The members of the public that are making those eligible purchases today, those businesses are collecting that tax today, and we're receiving roughly that same amount, minus the new establishment that Heather talked about. We're receiving that revenue today. So a policy decision to move forward allows us to continue doing that. A policy decision to not pursue this means that that revenue stream goes away for us. It's when you look at the size of the county's budget, it's a small number, but it's roughly the starting salary of an entry-level team member in our organization. So it has some significance to it. And then literally, we're looking for some direction on what you want us to do.
So actually, I'm not looking for 100% direction today. So we do need to give policy at some point. I know this is a lot to chew. I believe we have until October. There's a certain date.
There is.
If you want to be on for next year to calculate, if you miss that date, you're just going to be behind a little bit. So this is not something that I want you to have to rush decision. I know you've just seen this data for a few days. I'm not expecting you to say, yes, it's something I want to pursue. No, it's something without seeing it. I think it's something that you can have, discuss. Is there, if we keep it, is there something that it should be tied to, whether it be economic development or something else? There's all sorts of different things. So we'll bring it back up to try to give policy here in another month or two. I think the data was out there. Most of the municipalities in Peoria County, West Peoria has not voted on something yet.
Heather's got a list. She can talk.
Heather?
She can speak to
I
that.
did
There we
forget
go.
to mention that, and I was going to bring it up at the very end if no one asked. So thank you for asking. There are, within the 6 counties that comprise the Peoria Metropolitan Statistical Area that we talk about in our budget, there have been seven municipalities that have already voted to implement. Peoria, the city of Peoria is not on that list, even though they have voted to approve it. This information comes from the Illinois Municipal League. It was updated May 15th, and so it all depends on when those municipalities report to them. So there could be more. I couldn't find a decent other list online, so I'm just going to look at that frequently to get updates for you. But there have been 187 municipalities within 67 counties in Illinois that have approved the 1% grocery sales tax. There have also been 5 counties that have approved the local sales tax, and that's Cook County, DuPage, Kane, Lake, and McHenry. And that's as of today's date, the counties.
And what were the municipalities in our MSA?
Sure, yes. Chillicothe, Deer Creek, East Peoria, El Paso, Pekin, and Tremont, and the city of Peoria.
Is everybody okay with that? Just to digest the information for a while and we can revisit the conversation. Any questions for Heather or Scott? Member Phelan.
Would it be easy to show the difference in property tax collected with the change in the equalized assessed value versus what this loss in revenue could be? Could you make that comparison?
For the properties where these businesses are located, or
Countywide. So I guess my question would be, my immediate reaction is, we had an opportunity where we could have potentially reduced or had a discussion on reducing the tax levy. That wasn't done, and with the equalized assessed value, we obviously see more income coming in. My question is, how does that offset the tax?
we can do that math. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, we can do that math.
Is there any other information that you'd like to see presented? Kudos, though, to the finance department as first class as always. This was a fantastic amount of information, and from administration, that this report to figure out that math and do all that. So very well done.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.